where they have been sprayed, and that they'll gather these things up and take them home and feed them to our children and our elders. That's a institutionalized evil, that we're above what is naturally occurring. Where is the environmental justice in that process? What happened to the bold decision in the environmental rulings? Where does that go in this treaty when we're in common with all that lives? You see the higher rate of cancer amongst the people that harvest the basket grasses. And now you go even outside of our homes. You go rototill or dig up in the backyard and you look at the earthworms and you see what's in them. All the chemicals that everybody gets a prescription for, and we go into our bathroom and urinate into the restroom. All that, where does it go? Out in the yard. What happens to the worms? When all that water comes up to the surface, and you look into the worms and see all the chemicals that are in the worms. And you begin to realize it's in the yard. And where do our children play? Out in the yard. There are things that we have to see as in common with. It's not just harvesting the salmon to live with. It's in common with all that are living out in that naturally occur. And that in our treaty rights we say in common with, and we kind of misinterpret what that really means. We kind of take that as our license to over-harvest. Competition to harvest more. Treaty and non-treaty. You know, in the older days, they would harvest enough to live until the following spring when everything begins to grow again. Enough fish, as an example. Well, now in one day, they can catch enough fish. One boat can catch enough fish that would have survived fish. Your whole village would have survived for the rest of that season. Treaty, non-treaty fishermen catch enough in one day, that might even feed the whole town. Months and months. And so it kind of becomes a competition to harvest the resource. You know, in the older day, they had nets and had spears to get the fish. We didn't, in the old day, didn't have the big seiners that catch them by 30 or 50,000 pounds a day. So it becomes a kind of a competition. And so then it becomes a competition over a treaty right where a tribe now wants to overstep another tribe's area. And it becomes a bitter thing between tribes. And it becomes a bitter thing between the local towns and the treaty and non-treaty fishermen. And so when we begin to see that there is an overharvest, then when you look at a beach that is overharvested from all the oysters, where do the seeds come from to fertilize more oysters? More clams. And we kind of overlook something. And when is it that we become, all of us, in common with all that naturally occurs? We've got to look at it. We're all responsible. You know, one thing that doesn't get noticed so much is that treaties actually began so that war would end, and that we would begin to live amongst each other. And our late uncle, he did a very beautiful and an awesome video called Teachings of the Tree People. In that video, he said that we're all supposed to be like the forest. All the trees different kinds of trees living together without ever complaining or blaming the other, living in common with each other, not better or worse than the other, not taking more than the other. We have to be responsible. When we're talking to people around the world, what is a treaty right? And that there's a very, very powerful thing, the treaty rights and the court rulings that come from that. There was the man, the attorney for Makah tribe, was here only a few months back. He said, if you really want to protect the environment, then maybe a lot of these environmentalists and the groups, maybe they better support treaty rights to help protect the resource, the water, the land, the shellfish, the plants. Because in the treaty it talks about the right to harvest, to gather all the berries and the fruit and the roots. So that where is it that we become like these weeds that overlook all of these rights, that we're in this together? Are we over-harvesting? Are we becoming to this place and forgetting the environmental justice? We're harvesting something as if that's where the term begins to be an institutionalized evil, where it isn't really a living thing anymore. That we're harvesting something that in our culture, the young girls were taught to go to seek a power from amongst the plants that would help her gather the medicine, that would help more plants grow, offer the medicine and the songs, the teachings, the way of life. And so if we're overlooking the part about the environment with the plants and say it's a treaty right, what if we go along with all the companies and poison all the things that actually are spiritual, living people? Then where does it begin to be the institutionalized evil? Where is the environmental justice? If we go around the world and just say we have a right to harvest all that we can and overlook and forget the actual spiritual concept of this, then where are we? We've got to have our responsible teachers. We train the young people to listen to the animals, to listen to the wind, to listen to the storms in life, listen to the trees and see what's really going on. They talk about education that comes from these treaty rights, to be educated. But to educate in what? How to clear cut and continue to put poison out? And kill all the plant people, the berries? We have to be responsible and take a look and see what our part really is. There is a way that I see this Idle No More as kind of slow into getting the momentum it is, because I don't think that I've ever been neutral and sitting around doing nothing about the environment or treaty rights or environmental issues. I haven't been quiet about that. And I know a lot of people that have been working at this for 10 and 15, 20 years. So